Have you ever been nervous and afraid to give feedback to someone? Maybe you have some great feedback to give and you're concerned that they might take it the wrong way. Hi, I'm Debra Kasowski, 3-time best-selling author, speaker, executive coach, and the host of the Millionaire Woman Show, where we talk about life, leadership, and business. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to talk to you about delivering effective feedback. And we love to hang on to all the compliments and kudos and the accolades that come in. But when it comes to receiving feedback that's meant to be constructive and help us improve in some way, we often don't take it in very well. And sometimes it can be because the way that someone delivered the feedback. So here's the thing. I would love for you to go over to watch my video on how to receive feedback, because there is an art to it. And we often don't hear about ways to receive feedback. But today I'm going to talk to you about delivering effective feedback so people can receive it in a more positive way. So when it comes to delivering feedback, you need to know the person that you're actually giving feedback to, in a sense of, especially when you're delivering on performance. Some people do not like positive feedback in public. They'd still rather receive that in person, one-on-one. It makes them nervous to have a spotlight shone on them. So it's important to understand if a person is okay with receiving feedback openly in front of their peers or friends or family, or would they rather receive that feedback privately? Also, what happens when people are delivering feedback, it also depends on the person who is delivering it. Have you been the one who has directly observed the performance? Are you able to speak to it truthfully, or are you getting all your information from third-party sources? The person who is receiving the feedback can receive it with a lot of mistrust if you have not taken the time to observe their work or do some research about past performance. So you really want to make sure that you're the right person delivering that feedback. The other thing is we talked about where you do it, public versus private. Who does it? Are you the right person to have the direct judgment of that performance? And feedback is not just an evaluative sort. I want you to think of feedback as something that is constructive, something that we can use to improve and move forward with in a very positive way. Because if we think of something, what we see in another individual is often what they do not even see in themselves. And when people receive feedback, sometimes when it's not aligned with how they see themselves already, that's when feedback falls down, where people don't understand where they've received the feedback and they get frustrated because they think that everyone sees them a certain way. Some people get very anxious before they know that they're going to have an opportunity to talk about their performance, for the fear that you do not see themselves the way they see themselves. So feedback is something that needs to be delivered effectively, making sure that all of the right timing, the right person, the right location, all of those things are in line for it to truly be effective. The other thing is you're focusing on behavior. You're focusing on performance. You're not focused on the person themselves rather than the actions that they do. And you need to be very specific. Here's the thing. When people receive feedback, is it focused on being positive feedback, or is it meant to be corrective? And often people talk about, oh, well, just sandwich it in. Tell them what they need to improve on. Tell them something good. And then tell them something, again, that they're doing good. And then you kind of smush it all together. But what I want you to really think about is when you're delivering feedback that you really want to land and that it could make a big difference for this person, I want you to consider the words you're using, the intention you're having this conversation with, and making sure you're doing frequent check-ins with that person to ask what they're understanding. Get them to repeat back to you, and then you can paraphrase back to them. Because what happens is when we're receiving feedback or some information from someone that we didn't expect, we can often tune it out and not hear it and not let it land for us to say, okay, I need to do something with this. So when you are giving feedback, be very specific in the feedback that you're giving, that there's detail and there's context. So it might be, when this happened, this is what had occurred, this is how I felt that it should have happened, and this is what I'd like to see in the future. See, we have to go back to what are the expectations, roles, responsibilities, and often when we're giving feedback, that's where that prescription kind of was in of what was expected. If people don't understand what the expectations were, then we can see where we have personally fell on track in providing those resources if it was our responsibility, or the tools that they need to do their jobs effectively. So we always want to be looking and reflecting ourselves to say, what part do I play in that performance of that person? Every single person in every situation, people have an opportunity to each take 100% responsibility for what they could do in any situation. How can I help someone be better and execute their position is in the fact that I can provide resources and tools and strategies or education to help support that individual so that when I need them to perform a certain way, that they've had those tools to utilize. And then we can go back on them and have an more open discussion. The other thing is those clear expectations are very, very important. It might be that you need to review job expectations, or for people to even ask themselves, what is expected of me? When we have an idea of what our expectations are, we have something to rise to. And without that, we cannot execute and perform at our best without knowing what those expectations are, because otherwise it's kind of like shots in the dark, wondering, am I doing the right thing? This is why receiving feedback is so important. And this is also why delivering feedback is just as important as delivering effective feedback. So it makes a difference. And if you get nervous, take some time to plan out what you want to say. Think about some of the responses you might receive. This is going to help you be able to have a conversation. But above all, don't come in too scripted, because you got to remember, we're talking about humans here. There's emotion tied into feedback. And I want you to really think about, instead of judging that this person in front of me, of what they could have done or they should have done, or if you would have done that same thing, you're not the same person. So you want to give the opportunity to the person that you're getting context from to explain themselves. Maybe it's a particular situation. Get their viewpoint. As you listen to their story unfold, you are going to start seeing where the gaps may have happened based on them explaining the story and you listening very carefully. When you come from a place of a learner, you gain greater leverage than if you come from a place of judging every action someone takes. So when you are delivering effective feedback, you really need to put yourself in the learner role to be curious about what may have happened for someone to make that decision, or for someone to make the choice that they did and the action that followed it. The more you do that, the more you can see the scenario or the gap in the person's thinking where you can deliver feedback that can improve not only that situation, but further choices and decisions in front of them. Be someone who comes from a place of curiosity to build people up, not tear them down. When feedback is effective, it is inspiring. It gives someone a chance to look at themselves and say, you know what, I can do better next time. I can show up better next time. And I've been held in grace and given the space to do so. When you do that for people, they are going to continually be loyal to you. They're going to want to improve for you. But not only that, they're going to take a greater pride in their own work because the standards just got a little bit higher. Thank you for joining me. I'm Debra Kasowski. Please go over to my website at www.debrakasowski.com where you can get your free part mini course on making habits stick. Put that focus and consistency in place so you can make your goals and dreams a reality and knock them out of the park. And please hit the bell. If you like this video, you don't want to miss out on any more, and stay subscribed, like, comment below. I would love to hear from you. And let us know about any of other videos you'd like to see on this channel. Have a great day.